Timbermen. We're looking for a girl infected.
The movie opens with a gripping scene where John Wood, a former Special Forces operative, is bound to a chair while being interrogated by his commander, Stone. John's wife has been abducted and is being used as leverage to force him into compliance. A deadly virus has swept through the small town of Westburg, which had a population of only 5,000. Out of that number, 3,000 have already succumbed to the disease, while 1,500 remain hospitalized. Stone believes that John deliberately allowed these remaining people to escape from military control. However, John defends himself, explaining that by the time his squad arrived, the infected individuals had already vanished. Stone remains unconvinced by John's explanation. In a shocking turn, Stone grabs John's wife and threatens to shoot her. Desperate to save her, John struggles to break free but is ultimately powerless, forced to watch as his wife is killed right before his eyes. 3 years later, John lives in isolation in a secluded cabin deep in the woods, consumed by grief over his wife's death. His mind is tormented not only by memories of her but also by the haunting image of Stone and the soldiers who had mercilessly killed the infected without hesitation. Enraged by their actions, John decides to take a stand against the Special Forces to protect innocent lives. However, instead of being seen as a hero, he is labeled a traitor. To make matters worse, Stone later claims that John's wife had been infected, justifying her execution. John is furious upon learning that no tests had ever been conducted to confirm this. Adding to Stone's suspicions about John, he is the only person known to have an unusually high resistance to the virus. As a result, John is captured and sent to a research facility, where scientists conduct experiments on him. However, this decision backfires as John proves to be incredibly strong, escaping the facility with little effort before vanishing without a trace. One evening, while John is warming himself by a bonfire, he is startled by the sudden appearance of a wounded woman stumbling out of the woods. She collapses from exhaustion and injury, prompting John to rush to her aid. The next morning, the woman regains consciousness and is startled to find herself in a stranger's cabin. John reassures her that he means no harm and explains that she has a bullet lodged in her body that must be removed to prevent infection. Left with no alternative, as John is the only person around to help, she agrees to the procedure. Before John removes the bullet, she introduces herself as Maria. When he extracts the bullet, he is shocked to discover that it contains a tracking chip, indicating that Maria is a fugitive from Stone. His suspicions deepen when he notices a barcode tattooed on her wrist. John allows her to stay and recover but warns her that she must leave once she is healed to avoid leading the Special Forces to his location. As Maria recuperates, she tries to help John by chopping firewood, but he stops her, insisting that he is capable of handling it himself. Inside the cabin, John is suddenly confronted by a group of uninvited soldiers tasked with tracking infected individuals. Initially, he ignores them, but when they attempt to force their way into his home, his patience snaps. In an intense confrontation, John eliminates them all. Rushing back inside to check on Maria, he is stunned to find that she has already taken down the remaining soldiers. After disposing of the bodies, John notices Maria's astonishment at his well-stocked weapons storage. He explains that he has been preparing for war but does not reveal who he plans to fight. To divert her questions, he hands her a mop and instructs her to clean up the blood. Meanwhile, at the military headquarters, 2 officers named Granite and Feldspat are awaiting updates from the soldiers sent to capture Maria. When they receive no response, they decide to send another squad. Agitated, Granite challenges some of her subordinates to a fight and effortlessly defeats them, proving her superior strength. Afterward, she is approached by Adam, who reprimands her for attacking his men. Back at John's cabin, he grows concerned that his hideout has been compromised and begins to suspect that Maria's arrival was no coincidence. However, seeing no immediate threat from her, he allows her to stay a little longer. As they spend more time together, they develop a bond, and John opens up to her about his late wife. The following day, he prepares defenses in anticipation of another military attack. he constructs a sandbag bunker, digs a trench for cover during shootouts, and fortifies his home, bracing himself for an inevitable battle. That evening, as they sit by the fire, Maria reveals a shocking truth: she is the key to the virus's cure. Her blood contains the vaccine, and she fled after learning that the military planned to exploit it rather than use it to help people. This revelation alarms John, and he initially refuses to assist her, fearing the danger it would bring. However, Maria pleads with him, reminding him of his wife's unjust death and urging him to help her for the greater good. Motivated by the desire for revenge and justice, John ultimately agrees to fight alongside Maria. Determined to prepare her for the upcoming battle, John trains Maria in firearm use, as she has never handled a gun before. Soon after, soldiers return to John's cabin, unaware that the man they are about to confront is far from an ordinary lumberjack. As John enters his shed, the soldiers silently follow, assuming he is unaware of their presence. However, John swiftly eliminates two of them, leaving the last one in sheer terror. In a desperate move, the remaining soldier takes Maria hostage, believing it will force John to surrender. However, John remains unfazed. Taking advantage of a moment of distraction, Maria breaks free, allowing John to finish off the soldier with his bow. Realizing that further attacks are inevitable, John urges Maria to prepare for the next assault. At the same time, Stone, furious over his squad's failure, is already planning his next strike. Meanwhile, John and Maria set numerous traps, including explosives and gasoline-based fire traps to incinerate any advancing soldiers. Before the final battle, John paints his face in war colors, preparing for the bloodshed ahead. As Maria fetches water from the river, she is ambushed by special forces and captured. However, John quickly intervenes and massacres the squad, allowing them to retreat to the cabin. There, they brace for another wave of intruders. Meanwhile, Feldspat, having survived the previous encounters, reports back to Stone, who still underestimates the mysterious lumberjack. As the battle escalates, Maria is attacked by a female soldier, forcing her into a brutal one-on-one fight. Using her wit, Maria grabs an assault rifle and kills her opponent instead of engaging in hand-to-hand combat. Stone, now desperate, orders Granite and her team to eliminate John and recapture Maria. As more troops arrive, John and Maria continue their relentless fight, wiping out squads one after another. With their defenses holding strong, they push forward to end the conflict before nightfall, as fighting in the dark would put them at a disadvantage. Stone, realizing none of his men have returned, grows uneasy. His final squad locates John's cabin and discovers a basement filled with the bodies of their fallen comrades. As they lower their guard, Maria ambushes them, eliminating the remaining troops. Meanwhile, John is attacked in the woods by Feldspat, leading to a vicious battle. John is defeated but survives. Maria, however, is wounded and captured by Feldspat, who flees through the tunnels. When Stone learns of Feldspat's betrayal, he kills one of his own men in rage and orders Granite to eliminate both John and Feldspat while securing Maria. As Feldspat struggles to find an exit, John re-emerges, launching another brutal fight that ends with him victorious. Just as Maria urges John to flee, Granite and her soldiers arrive, forcing another shootout. With ammunition running low, they seek refuge in a hidden room. John insists on facing the soldiers alone, ordering Maria to stay hidden. Upon reaching the surface, John finds Stone and his men waiting. Stone demands Maria's location, but John deceives him, claiming she is already dead. Unconvinced, Stone orders his men to torture John for information. However, John refuses to talk. Enraged, Stone agrees to a one-on-one fight, confident in his victory. But John, once again, proves unstoppable, ultimately killing Stone. With Stone dead, Granite unexpectedly thanks John, revealing she had always wanted his position. However, she still intends to kill him. Before she can, Maria appears holding 2 grenades, threatening to detonate them unless John is spared. Maria then surrenders, allowing Granite to take her away. Watching her leave, John vows to find and rescue her. In the final scene, a flashback reveals that Maria left behind 3 vials of her blood and a letter to John, stating that she hopes her blood will be used to save lives. The movie ends.
Please subscribe for more movie